Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration Live with Lee. I am your host, attorney Lee Marvin, and today is Monday, March 10th, 2025, and I'm here to answer your immigration questions. We can talk about, I don't like talking about politics, but everything relates to politics. But I'm here to answer your questions. So if you have questions about immigration, if you have questions about the new administration, if you have questions about what sorts of policies are happening and what's coming down the line, then welcome. Okay. Please put your questions in the comment section. And also let me know where you're joining me from. So put where you're joining me from and ask your questions. You don't have to wait for me to tell you can ask a question. Just go ahead and type it in the chat. But I really would like to know where you're joining me from. So please tell me where you're joining me from. I am joining you from my home office in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay. So welcome to everyone who's joining us. And please post your questions. And I'm seeing questions coming in right now from Instagram. We have friends from Instagram, YouTube, and also Facebook. So thank you. And please type in your questions. Okay. So let's see here. Question here. I just got my green card. I have a 12-year-old out of status. What can I do? Oh, wait. I have a 12-year out of status. Well, if you just got your green card and you're 12 years out of status, congratulations to you, because that is an amazing accomplishment, because that means you have a green card and they don't really care that you're out of status. So you're good to go. So yeah, no issues there. Okay, and you're joining us from Massachusetts. Well, thank you for joining us from Massachusetts. Thank you kindly for joining us. Oh, okay, now I see. You have a child. You have a 12-year-old child out of status. What can I do? So the big question here is whether your 12-year-old was included in your green card request. I'm assuming by the question here that your child was not, which it doesn't matter. Hindsight is 2020. But my question is, why were they not included in your petition for the green card? I'm going to put a link here because I may need to talk to you because it's a bit challenging once you to go back in time and recreate things. But it is still possible to fix the status of your 12-year-old. Okay, so I'm going to put that link here so you can book that time to talk directly to me, so you can get some help with that or anything else that y'all might have questions. Okay, so I just posted the link. So please let me know by clicking the link and scheduling a consultation with me. Again, thank you for joining. Friends from Instagram, do we have any other questions here before I go to the questions that I was asked earlier that I said that I would get to today? Okay. Okay. So I got a question here. Desme Bruce. Hi, sir. I really appreciate your time with us always. Thank you. And I know you join me most Mondays, so I appreciate your support. I have my green card now. Awesome. And my ex-wife petitioned for my kids, but I just had a receipt notice. We're currently in a divorce. So if they're your kids and not her kids, if they were not included and go through the same process that you went through, you may need to petition them yourself. Since now you have a green card, you can petition your family members. Okay. So your question, Desme Bruce, is whether you should withdraw your divorce in order to move forward until your kids get the status. If you file for divorce, chances are good that it was for a very good reason. So I rarely encourage anyone to stop a divorce. If it's serious enough for you to file for divorce, I would not stop it because that means you've got other problems that you're not addressing and resolving. So I rarely advise people. I'm not a divorce attorney, so I don't really advise people on divorces. But as far as immigration purposes, you're not required to withdraw anything. Okay. Um, but if you are a green card holder, you now have the legal right to sponsor your children. So you can do that without having to rely on your sponsor. You can do it yourself. Okay. So if you have questions, again, that link is up there for you and anyone else who has questions to book a time to talk directly to me about questions like this. Okay. So let me go over here. What do we have here? Okay. So I've got, let's see, some questions. Let me see here, those questions that I had prepared. There's a few good questions that I wanted to get to. Desme Bruce, you're welcome. That's my pleasure. Okay, here's a good question about a fiance visa. For the K-1 visa, does the fiance have to be here and married in 90 days? This is from my YouTube channel. Um, or do they get to come to the United States within 6 months and then when they're here, the 90 days starts? Yes, that is true. So the fiance visa is all about getting your fiance into the country. Once they enter the country, that's when the 90 days starts for you to get married. So you've got that 90 days once they enter to be able to get married. That's entry into the United States. Usually, I don't know how much time they give you to enter the United States. I think it is probably around 6 months, but the 90 days starts when your fiance is inside of the United States because that's when you have to get married. If you're not married within that 90 days, that's a bad situation for your fiance. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Um, okay. Let's see here. Um, okay. Here's a good question. Can I travel outside the United States while waiting for the approval of my petition to remove a condition or the conditions from my green card? Good question. The answer is yes, you can. Absolutely. So if you are a legal permanent resident, it doesn't matter if you have conditional status or the full 10 years. While you have that status, you have the same rights as anyone else with a green card. So you can freely travel in and out of the United States. Be careful that you don't overstay outside the United States because then you're going to be in trouble when you're moving forward with your naturalization process. But yes, you can absolutely travel even if you are a conditional legal permanent resident. Okay. Let's see here. Um, uh, okay. So this question is related to public charge issues. The person asks, and again, this is from my YouTube channel. It was a video that I did about 5 common citizenship test question issues. Um, let's see. I'm a green card holder living in the U.S. I am planning to apply for a Pell Grant to help me with college. If I avail myself of this federal student aid or state grants, will it have a negative effect on my application for citizenship? No, because that's not the type of public benefit that makes you a public charge. Okay, those are opportunities, that special funding for people to go to school. That's not the same thing as welfare benefits. Okay, so if you're looking at moving forward with citizenship and you're worried about getting student aid, that is not something that's ever going to harm you or your abilities to qualify for citizenship. You will not be labeled a public charge. Okay. Okay, I've got some people on Instagram asking questions. Isabella Yo hablo en español un poquito. Sí, that's for Isabella. Okay, question. I have my ICE appointment tomorrow in Florida. I crossed the border and have TPS, and I'm still waiting for a new date for court. I applied for asylum. Any advice? My advice is to not miss your court appointment. My advice is to make sure that the person, hopefully an attorney who helped you with your asylum, has answered questions to help you prepare for your case. I would suspect, I don't know when you actually filed for asylum. So I don't know if your court case is old enough that you're going to be addressing your asylum issues in court, or if this is just a master calendar hearing where they keep scheduling it until your individual or your trial date comes down the line. It depends when you filed. It often takes a year or more, a year and a half or more before you have to worry about your asylum matter in court. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, this is GRBZ. Okay. I filled out the I-130 and the I-485 April of 2021. Okay. It was approved in 22. While interviewing, I realized I had a 2-year. I'm still trying to piece together the questions here. So I'll keep looking back to see if there's a thread that ties these questions together, and then I'll get to it in a second. Okay. In the meantime, I'm going to go over to my YouTube channel, see what's going on over here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I answered that question already. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go to here. Okay, I answered that question. There's about the 90-day fiancé visa question. Okay. My husband and I applied for an I-90 application for renewal of a green card online, which I'm not a fan of, September 2024. After I got the 797 notice of action. Now they say nothing is outstanding. Still haven't received any approval. What will be next? Okay, so this again is from my YouTube channel. It's the waiting game, right? You're playing the waiting game, even though it says that the receipt of the I-90 was received, there's no updates. You guys, if you've watched this in the past, you know that I'm not a fan of the online stuff because I don't think it's reliable. So they say that you received it and then you wait and wait and wait. So what happens next is you just wait and you get your renewal, you get the green card in the mail. You don't have to go anywhere. And that's part of the reason why immigration doesn't really care a whole lot, because they say, well, you don't have to do anything but wait. So just wait. Okay. So there's nothing that you can do. There's nothing you can expect other than a decision on your request. Okay. So, okay. Okay, some of these questions I don't answer because they're not very nice, okay? I think I answered this one before. Elna, hi, how are you? Good to see you, Elna. Thank you for joining. You're a regular joiner of ours, so thank you very much, Elna. Do you have any questions? Please type them. Oh, wait, let's see here. Here it comes. What do you think of traveling with advanced parole with this new administration? I think it's fine, right? There's no indication that I have that it's not reliable, that the government's going to do the bait and switch with you. You got to understand the government, more than anything, wants people to follow their process. They're very obsessive about people following their process. So when people follow their process, they typically will let it go through. I'm not saying that they automatically approve things, but if you have a valid request for advance parole, you can rely on that. You can leave the United States and you can return, assuming that you don't have any other history that would compromise your ability to return. You would know that if you do. So I see nothing wrong with applying for and leaving once you do have your advanced parole. Just follow it to the T. Do not overstay. Do not deviate at all from your plan that you got approved from the government. Okay. So Elna, that's my best advice. Okay. My Armenia, hello to you too. I don't remember if you've said in the past where you join us from. If you tell me now, I'll try to remember it in the future. But thank you for joining us. Okay. There's a few more questions from my YouTube channel that I wanted to get to. Let's see. Okay. Okay. This is a good question from my YouTube channel relating to military parole in place. Okay. Military parole in place. So the question here, my plan was to get married. I'm sorry. My plan was to get my parents' parole in place, but I have a son and my significant other wants to get married before I join the military. But my mom told me that I probably won't be able to get parole in place if I go in married. Is that true? No, no, not at all true. And this is well, the screen name is kind of hard. It's not really a word. It's just a bunch of characters. So again, this is from my YouTube channel. Okay. So the question is, can you still qualify for military parole in place if you're married? Yeah, absolutely. Because so you want to get married before you join the military. I will tell you that there's nothing wrong with that. I would not wait. I would not stop. And you should also know that the military not only gives military parole in place to your parents, but gives significant benefits to your spouse, your legal spouse. There's a lot of military benefits that go to spouses of military members. So I absolutely recommend to do that, to not wait. I will also say that if you have more specific questions relating to the military and the military parole in place, you can book a consultation with me. And here's the link to do that. The stuff, sometimes there's things that are being asked that are hard to tell in the questions. So I always like people to book a time to talk to me so I can answer all your questions. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Okay, this is a question. I haven't heard this before. This is a question about I've heard under the new administration, people with a 2-year green card will continue receiving the 2-year on renewal and no longer the 10-year card. Is that true? No, because the whole point of a green card is 10 years. It's just the government wants to make sure that you're not committing immigration fraud and trying to trick them into getting your green card. So that's why it's a conditional green card for 2 years, okay? They don't give you 2 years after that. You remove the conditions from your 2-year card and then you get a 10-year card, okay? It might take a little bit of time for them, the government, to approve it, but they don't keep renewing your 2-year. Once you have your conditions removed, it's 10 years after that. Okay, so what do we have here? Yeah. So I'm going back up here on Instagram, trying to get back to a question that was being asked earlier that looked like it was split up between a bunch of different questions. So this is GRBZ. while interviewing, I realized I had a 2-year, and then there's 2-year rule, the 612 as approved October. So this GRBZ. Um, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. So you're J1. You are subject to the 2-year rule where you have to return back home before you can qualify for any other immigration benefits. That is typically very strongly enforced. So if that is your rule, um, the only way to get around that is it's called a national interest waiver, where the government will allow you out of that requirement. It is very technical. It is possible to get that, and you would not have to return home. So that is a possibility. Okay. Um, okay. Do. Okay. Okay. All right. So let me go back over here. Um, uh-huh. All right. This says, I am from Afghanistan. My wife is a U.S. citizen. She filed I-130 for me. My case is currently in the National Visa Center. Can I get my visa interview at the U.S. Embassy and your visa? Yes, I don't know. I don't know what embassy would be servicing you from Afghanistan. Okay. Let me think. Turkey, maybe. You may be going to Turkey for your interview. I don't remember where they send individuals from Afghanistan, but you will be at a U.S. embassy, likely in Turkey. Okay. Um, okay. So here's a question. Question is, do I have to return to Canada while my I-130 is pending? So, and this is true for any country. I mean, people ask from Canada because it's so close to the United States. A lot of people have the ability to go back and forth. Okay, you're not required to leave the country. Um, you're not required to stay outside the country while your I-130 is pending. You can exercise your right to visit, whether it's on a tourist visa or whether it's a waiver, the visa waiver from Canada or parts of Europe. You can travel freely. You can enter based on your visa, um, even while your I-130 is pending. So you're not required to stay away until your I-130 is approved. Okay. So, let's see here. Um, all right, let me see here. Um, okay, some of these questions. Okay, I answered that one already. Um, oh yeah, that answered as well. So sorry, folks, I'm just trying to get caught up here with some of these questions. Okay, still going. Okay, do. Okay. Okay. I'm from Ethiopia, and my fiance is from the US, which is better and faster for me to get married here in my country by a spouse visa or fiance visa. Well, uh, if your fiance is a US citizen, you can do either one because only US citizens can get a fiance visa. I've always found that moving straight to the green card consular processing at the US Embassy overseas is better in my opinion. It's cheaper, it's more convenient for most people. So I would say that it depends on what's going on in your relationship and your significant other, okay? But I'm always a fan of moving straight to the green card or consular processing rather than doing a fiancé or spouse visa. You absolutely can do any of those, of course. And again, I posted a link if you have questions and you want help with any of those. I've done them many, many times. So I would invite you to book a time to talk to me and I can help you figure that out, okay? Whoops. Let's see here. So again, I welcome everyone who's joining us tonight, and I will remind you to please post your questions in the comments section. So we've got some friends joining us from YouTube. How long do the I-601 waivers take, and what is the response of approval? So two very different questions. The 601 waivers historically have been minimum 2 years, 2 to 3 years. I think they're probably closer to 2 years. And as far as the response or approval, it depends on the case, right? I've had more successes than failures with waivers, but waivers are very tricky. They're not easy, and not a whole lot of immigration attorneys will do waivers because they are very challenging. They take time, and they're not like normal applications. There's a whole lot of legalese to it. There's briefs, and you got to have evidence, so it is a bit challenging. So the chances of success, it depends on your attorney. Like I said, I've had more successes than failures, but it does take about 2 years. Okay. So here's a question. I currently have DACA and did advanced parole last year. I'm from Mexico. My son will turn 21 in 4 months. He doesn't work. I'm a full-time housewife, but not legally married. Should I apply for the adjustment of status or keep waiting for my U visa to get approved? Okay, so I will say is NARDA, okay? If your husband is a U.S. citizen, you need to move forward with the process through him, okay? Advanced paroles, okay, you have your advanced parole, which means you left and successfully returned. That will definitely help you move forward so you're not having to do a waiver or leave the country if you're in an interview and Ciudad Juarez. But that's only if you have your spouse sponsor you, okay? From your question here, it looks like maybe you're going the angle with your son who's 21 in 4 months. If you are if you have the ability to legally get married, it looks like you're together. You've been together for a while. Your U.S. citizen spouse, you have a lot higher chance of success through that. And I would highly encourage you to do that. But if your son is turning 21 in 4 months and you already have advanced parole, you should theoretically be able to do that without too much trouble. I've just always found that they're a lot more generous, or they will approve a lot easier without a lot more trouble if you are married to a U.S. citizen and you file through that sponsor, okay? Okay. So, Mr. Singh, how are you? Glad to see you. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, this is a question related to immigration court matters. Can you get released from detention if you're subject to mandatory detention? Negative. In my experience, and again, I don't do the deportation racket anymore. Mandatory detention is mandatory detention. They're not going to let you out for any reason whatsoever. So, Malik, I would not expect that whoever's in mandatory detention is ever going to be released until they're released from the country, which means deported, okay? Again, you probably should, there could be a ton more to this. So I would encourage you to reach out to an immigration attorney in your area who handles deportations. We're a dying breed, right? Not a lot of immigration attorneys will handle deportations anymore because it's been an absolute nightmare, train wreck, horrible situation for the last, I don't know, 8 years. It's just a mess. So not a lot of immigration attorneys out there will do deportations. Okay. Um, okay. Okay. So let me see here. Okay. I'm currently a green card holder with a criminal history. I'm planning to travel outside the country. Will my past crime stop me from getting back in the US? I just did a video about this. I don't know if it's been released yet, but I literally last Thursday did this exact question. Okay. So it depends what your crime was, right? So it depends when your crime was, it depends what the crime was. Coming back to the United States, it depends on a lot of things. So check out my YouTube channel, which you're joining us from, to see that video when it's released. It's coming very soon. If you're already a fan, you have the notification bell, check that video out. If you still have questions, you can click the link that I posted above and book a time to talk to me, because this is a pretty serious thing. I wouldn't travel until you get a solid answer on that, okay? Okay, I'm going to look for the last couple questions because I'm already past my time. Okay. Yeah, so real quick, going over to Instagram. To apply for citizenship, it's after 3 years of marriage, right? Now, do those 3 years count only after having permanent residency, or can they include time with the 2-year green card? Okay, so common misunderstanding about green cards and 3-year, 2-year, 5-year. Nothing matters beyond when you got your green card. So your green card is the thing that matters. And then if you've been married to a US citizen, it's 3 years before you can get naturalized based on your marriage to a US citizen. But you have to have had your green card for that long, okay? So typically speaking, you get a two-year green card. You're married to a US citizen, so that means you only have to wait 1 more year to get to that 3 years before you can file for naturalization. You don't have to wait the 5 years, okay? So again, I want to thank everyone for joining us tonight. A lot of our friends that join us every week, I appreciate it. There's some that I didn't see tonight. I was kind of hoping to see. But thank you for everyone who joined. Next week, I want you to join me again at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, Detroit time. Please join me, and please have your questions ready to rock and roll so I can get to them, because a lot of these questions I don't get to because I've run out of time, like I've done this week. Okay, so I'm going to have to go for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for joining, and we will see you next Monday at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget, time change happened yesterday. It was brutal this morning. So if you're joining us at a time that's slightly different than normal, it's because of the time change here in Michigan. So have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you later.